One of the first questions is inevitably going to be, what kind of book is this? What genre is this? How does this book fit? Since the title, Terror Strikes, is likely to invoke some opinions or some assumptions, I should say. So let me say that it is more than one thing at the same time. Let me just kind of say, think of country rock. A country artist does a rock song, or a rock artist does a country song. It fits both genres. It can top on the country chart, it can top on the rock chart, it can even fit on the pop radio station. It is more than one thing at the same time. That, in a nutshell, sums up this book, although I'm going to elaborate. All right, now, first and foremost, let me say, I am not going to pander to a particular audience or another. I am going to give this same answer regardless of what radio station or TV station or whatever I may be at. If I'm at a religious radio station sitting across from a pastor, or I'm at a secular station with a self professed atheist who plays nothing but death metal all day, my answer is going to be the same. This is both fact and fiction. Not either or, it's faction. It is a fiction book with historical fact blended in it. So right there, in and of itself, it is more than one thing at the same time, though it technically has to be in your library in the fiction or nonfiction section. It is indeed a story, a fictional story. Let me read. I'm going to check my notes here. Nelson, the song Garden Party. And I know anybody under 40 is out there saying, who? What? Since I've mentioned music already. But Nelson Garden Party, look it up. Chorus begins, but it's all right now. I learned my lesson well. You see, you can't please everyone, so you gotta please yourself. Which calls to mind the adage, be true and honest to yourself. Well, I believe to be true and honest to you, which means you need and deserve a longer form answer to this question. Because some will say it's a Christian book. Well, am I a Christian? Indefatigably true. Yes. Am I an author? Well, we're here talking about my book, Terror Strikes, so I'm an author. Does that ex post facto, or de facto, I should say rather, make me a Christian author and this therefore a Christian book? Not so fast. Right. Usually black, white, lots of gray in between. This is a complicated issue. It is more than one thing at the same time. How can you, let me put it to you this way, how can I or anyone honestly write a book about terrorism without including politics and religion in it? And I say that why? Islamic fundamentalists are the majority of the terrorists we're fighting, or as I call them, Ijas. Kind of like we called the National Socialist Deutschland Arbeiter Party members Nazis. Islamic fundamentalists are Gijas, Global Islamic Jihadist Interim Army Soldiers, Gijas for short. They want to create a fascistic global caliphate political state. So you have to deal in politics in the book, to be honest, to the terrorism subject. They also say they do so in the name of a fundamentalist version of Islam. So you have to deal in religion and how their view of Islam relates and affects to Christians, Jews, Hindus, Buddhists, whatever. So it is more than one thing at the same time. It has to be an honest broker of the subject. They say the most dangerous place to drive, the middle of the road. You know that adage? Why? Because you get hit by traffic coming from both directions. And the adage, if you try to please everyone, you'll please no one. Well, I sure hope that won't be the case with this. But again, it's the honest approach. It has to be more than one thing at the same time to deal with the subject matter honestly. Let me ask you if you've ever heard of the film The Resurrection of Gavin Stone. Well, it's got resurrection in it. It's got to be a Christian movie, right? Not necessarily so. It is more than one thing at the same time. Let me throw another name at you. Blumhouse Studios. They do a lot of dark, dark films. One film is a dark twisting of the old Fantasy Island TV series. And for the record, I very much enjoyed that movie, but it is a warped version of Fantasy Island. They teamed up with a Christian film studio to make The Resurrection of Gavin Stone. Why? Because it is a different kind of movie. It is more than one thing at the same time. A Christian can see it and say, that was a wonderful Christian film. An atheist can see that film and say, that was hilarious because it's a comedy. It's meant to be. Gavin is a Hollywood actor who gets sentenced by a court to community service, does so at a church. He fancies the pastor's daughter, would like to date her, so he pretends to be a Christian. Hence, some comedic situations. So it is a comedy, but at the same time does present and deal with serious Christian precepts. It is more than one thing at the same time. So, does this book have quotes from the Bible? Yes, but it also has quotes from the Quran. Because again, to deal with the subject matter, it has to deal with the religious aspect and motivations of those that hate and want to kill people. Let me lastly add the Canadian rock group Triumph. If you've heard of them, another old reference, younger people will be like, who? Triumph. Look them up, Canadian rock group. They do a song called Fight the Good Fight. Well, they're a rock group. They're a trio. They all happen to be Christian, but no one would call them any other thing than a rock group. You wouldn't call them a Christian group. But they have a song called Fight the Good Fight, based on, their Christian background, about what it says. Fighting the good fight, being moral, being good, not evil. Okay, that's not 100% necessarily a Christian or Jewish or uh, uh, more general religious pretext notion. You can be an atheist and still fight the good fight. But that song could be on a regular rotation at any Christian music station across the country. It is more than one thing at the same time. I'm sorry for the long drawn out answer, but again, that was the honest answer. It has to all be dealt with to honestly deal with the terrorism subject. So it's both a fiction and a nonfiction book. It is both a book about terrorism, and religion, but it is for everyone. Young and old, people in high school can get some facts they're not learning in their history class, so gift the book to someone you know in high school. Male or female. This is about terrorism, but it's not a blood and guts, shoot 'em up, macho book. Females will very much enjoy this book too. Religious and non-religious, for all the reasons I just pointed out before, political and non-political. It is a book for everyone. Again, it wasn't set out to please everyone. It is the honest delivery of the subject matter. Thank you so much for listening or watching if you're watching via video. I appreciate you stopping by. I hope you will obtain Terror Strikes and enjoy it thoroughly. Share the book title with your friends. You can get it at any bookstore starting April 15th, 2022. Pre-sales on Amazon a little bit before that. Take care. Have yourself a great day. I wish the best for you.